What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 3, week 2 of the league. This is your host, Sal.
And I'm Dion.
And yeah, let's get into it. All right, we're back. This week, we got some juicy matches for you guys. Dion's going to go first and break some down, and then I'll break down the other three.
Yeah, Stacy versus Freddie. Now, on the side of Stacy, she pretty much had a really bad week. She had the lowest scoring team of the season so far at 63.76. However, it's not all entirely her fault. She did play all the right players, but she had her quarterback, Josh Allen, had a pretty bad week, but that was all due to the fact that James Cook decided to take 4 touchdowns for himself. Or was it 4 or was it 3?
I think it was 3.
3.
Even
Okay, 3.
I should know, right? I got my ass busted by him.
Yeah, I think it was 3 touchdowns that were taken. I think it was 2 rushing touchdowns, and
Yeah, and a reception.
he did have a receiving touchdown, but that did help Josh Allen a little bit, but it wasn't as great as you would expect from Josh Allen, who usually rushes the touchdown himself. Then on the other side, we also have Mike Evans, who didn't have a great week as well. That was due to the fact that Chris Godwin kind of stole most of that yardage and touchdown.
Yeah.
And then her running backs weren't that great. I mean, for a combined total of only 11.4 points, it's not. And then she has 2 Las Vegas Raiders, so doesn't help her output and stuff.
Yeah.
Then for our boy Freddie, he improved. He had a better week this week compared to the first week, having at least a 15% increase in points. Jalen Hurts had a bounce back week, scoring 23-82. And then at least 7 out of his 9 players scored their projections. I mean, you can see by his total and stuff, it's pretty good. Pretty good total.
I was gonna say we had Freddie was the number 1 ranked team last week, and then Stacy was the last one too. So
the lowest, yeah. So it kind of shows,
They kind of perform what we ranked them as.
Yeah, and then for Stacy's MVP, you got to give it to CeeDee Lamb, holding 4 receptions and 90 yards and a receiving touchdown. I mean, that's why he goes in the first round, you know. Mm-hmm. For her least valuable player, it had to be Keon Coleman, but he did log 1 target, didn't catch anything. But then again, that whole game was just a running scheme.
Yeah, they got ahead early, and then the defense, they got a lot of points too. So it's like once Tua got out, it's like they're not passing the ball anymore.
Right, exactly. There was no need for any passing when you could just run on them. For Freddie's MVP, I actually gave it to the Houston Texans. You don't really see defenses getting that points a lot. Recording 7 sacks and 2 interceptions. I know it's against the Chicago Bears, but that's points right there. You know, that'll help you win the week. For his
the one occasion where the Chicago Bears O-line helped Freddie.
Yeah, right. just constant pressure on Caleb Williams.
Yeah, one of the interceptions was like somebody was coming off the edge and he was like had to throw triple coverage into like a Met. Like, interception. Like more points.
Yeah. And for his least valuable player, I gave it to Kincaid, but that's the same situation with Coleman. You know, you're running a whole run scheme on for the game script. It's not going to really be amounting to a lot of passing attempts. So, and then on to our next match, Manny versus Ryan. This is definitely the matchup of the week due to the amount of points they both scored. Manny had a pretty eventful week, and it's only due to a couple of things. So Ken Bone Walker was announced inactive on Sunday, so Manny had no choice but to sit him. And then during the Sunday night game, Joe Mixon got hurt, serious like ankle injury due to the defender doing a cheap shot. And then his worst offense was benching Marvin Harrison Jr. for Jameson Williams.
Rookie mistake.
And
That's
on,
his #1 draft pick.
I
You gotta give
know.
him a little more shit than that. #1 draft pick bench.
Yeah, exactly. That shows the confidence that he had in him. And then on the other side, we got Ryan. For the second straight week, he has been the highest scorer in the league. You know, it helps when you have like Kittle, who had a bounce back week, uh, recording 7 receptions for 76 yards and a tutty. Although he did have a potential scare, I don't know if you heard it. He was carted off the field.
Yeah,
in the second half, but
it's Kittle, bro. Like they just gave him some drugs and he came back.
Yeah, right. He's like, I gotta perform for a fantasy team.
Yeah. No, not if Stacy owned him. If Stacy owned him, he would be gone for like 3-4 weeks.
Sure. And then we also got Chris Godwin, who recorded 7 receptions as well, but for 117 yards and a touchdown.
All in the first quarter.
All in the first quarter, yeah. That's where all the Mike Evans points went.
I know. Afterward, they were just cruising. That's crazy. All of his boomers are not his boomers, but his like older players. They're just like performing like they're in their prime.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he rewind the time clock. Now for Manny's MVP, I'm gonna give it to Marvin Harris on his bench.
Damn.
JK. I'm actually gonna give it to JK Dobbins with 17 rush attempts and 131 yards and a touchdown, giving him 19.6 points. Well, Marvin Harrison definitely would have helped. Because if he did play him, he actually would have won this week. His least valuable player, I'm going to give it to Joe Mixon, but that's only due to the injury. Other than that, he was on track. He was doing decent amount of points, but a late injury, won't help at all.
Who do you think who would have played over like Marvin Harrison? Like, who do you think he would have been?
So if he would have just kept Jameson Williams out and put Marvin Harrison in, he definitely would have won. I think he would have won by 3 points.
Damn, he messed up, bro.
But he didn't believe.
Gotta believe.
On Ryan's side, though, his MVP is Alvin Kamara.
Oof.
He went back in time he got the 2016 Alvin Kamara.
You got that Christmas Kamara special.
Yeah, exactly. Four touchdowns.
This time he was on the good end, on the positive end side of it.
Exactly. 3 rushing touchdowns, 115 yards, and 2 receptions for 65 yards and a touchdown. It's crazy.
Man.
That Saints offense is just like everybody wrote them off, and they're doing some crazy things. But I mean, that offense is really clicking. I mean, to go against Dallas defense that way and score that many points, something's got to be going right there.
Yeah, you got to let me see that.
And then for Ryan's least valuable, it's got to go to Lad McConkey.
Not the Lad.
Yeah, it's got to go to Lad. I mean, he didn't start Quentin Johnson.
Yeah. Imagine if he did. Well, he would have like 170.
I think we all be bowing down to.
Wait, what about his Dallas defense?
I would give it to Dallas.
Kind of a goose egg.
I would have given it to Dallas, but Dallas defense, you would have played it because you think maybe the Saints aren't that great as they are. But Lad was like uncalled for. Like Lad, he could have like went with any other player.
Oh man, I heard he likes the lads. That's why he played him.
I heard that too, but it didn't help. I mean, it didn't matter anyway to him. Like he still dominated, but Lad McConkey probably would have been better going off of someone else.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't hurt when one of your players is putting up 40 points. Yeah, it's like
right, exactly. And then for our next matchup, we got John versus Sal. That matchup actually started pretty nice for John. He had James Cook. He was running in for a lot of yards and
Yeah.
I think 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's always really good when you get it on Thursday night.
Yeah, exactly.
You got that lead.
But then that quickly fizzled out because then he had Matthew Stafford running, and Matthew Stafford couldn't do anything against the Cardinals after losing Cooper Cup.
Mhm.
And then
Dude,
once
even before even before that, man, that O line is ass.
I know it's not. I mean that's how bad it is because like the
Yeah.
Cardinals don't have like a pass rush. They don't.
And somehow they were doing it because it's like,
Exactly.
yeah,
They're putting the pressure on Stafford, and it's crazy. Um, the Jets defense did help though. Add to his total, recording 4 sacks, an interception, and a fumble for 11 points.
yeah,
And then you also got Jamar Chase, who still is kind of struggling, only scoring like 5.5 points. Do you think this is related to him missing training camp and preseason?
yeah. I think they gotta like re-click again. You see him on the sidelines, angry as hell. I think he'll bounce back this week though. Not against me because I was putting the clenches on him. I was squeezing tight. But this
Right.
week, this week they're facing Washington, so I think
Exactly.
that's a
They
bounce
don't.
back week. Not because I have Burrow now, but I do think that that's the case for Chase.
Yeah, and then my boy Sal right here, he also had a bounce back week.
Yes, sir.
Um, Devontae Adams decided to show his doubters
Yeah.
that he could still get it, scoring 9 receptions for 110 yards and 1 touchdown. Um, although it did happen in the final quarter of the game, it was still amazing though.
With a toe tap too.
Yeah, that was amazing. Andrews did have a better game, but not by a lot, but it was still a decent amount. He kind of made Isaiah likely, go away a little bit.
That's true. Enough to not make me rage because it's like it was under projections, but it was still kind of like, hey, it's better than last week. He got
Yeah,
more. He got more usage.
and then for John's MVP, I'm going to give it to James Cook, like I talked about earlier. Running through the Dolphins' defense with 11 attempts, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 1 reception uh, touchdown. And then for his least valuable player, it's Travis Kelsey with only 3 targets and 1 reception for 5 yards and 1 rushing yard. It's looking a little bit questionable, but I don't know. Now with Isaiah Pacheco probably gone, maybe they decide to switch to a passing offense. I mean, we'll know by next week what's going to happen with Travis Kelsey. For Sal's MVP, talked about it earlier, is Devontae Adams. Just showing who he's always been. Your least valuable player they gave was Pickens, but I'm not going to give Pickens a lot of flack because it was
Yeah.
against Pat Surtain, but he did have a 50-yard catch that he
No.
did like
They
caught
got.
and stuff,
He
but
caught it. They got called back.
yeah, he got called back on a holding penalty. But he also did I think a 40-yard pass interference call as well.
Yeah, the hater play. That
So
was
it's
so mad
like,
the whole game. And the third thing too, they called back the touchdown play.
yeah.
So that
So
was like
I think Pickens does have a good game, but it's just things
didn't put the
that just
points on the board.
exactly that just don't happen. So yeah, that's all. That's it for my matchups.
My first match five I'm gonna talk about is Martin versus Hector, which is pretty even matchup based on our rankings because they're near the initially they were near the end there, but I want to say for the first off, Henny from on Martin's side, like he proves himself. Like it's like we want to see him run more, like especially
Right.
against Las Vegas. Even though people expect him to go like bazooka, bonkers, but he did exceed his expectations. I think that's what you want to see with him. Like you just want to see more rushes, more usage, and obviously that game script uh would have called for it, but actually it was closer than we thought it was.
As
Like
I
he could
thought,
have had
yeah.
even more, but they stayed within the touchdown, so they kept using him, and that's what you want from your round two running back. The one that was kind of surprising is Ford because like out of nowhere, like, and I'm a Ford fella, right? I believe in him. Out of nowhere, like Deontay Foreman, which I'm also a Foreman fella, but um, they just started using him a lot. They gave him 14 carries, and like Ford does like kind of like phased
Yeah,
out for no apparent reason. Like at least not that I know of. Even now, like in the week, he was kind of wacky. Got him 6.9 points, and another player which was kind of whack is Pitts. We expected him to do better in this new offense, but even I think I saw a stat just this morning that his usage on this last game was less than Arthur Smith, which is like what? Like why? Like and I know
it's
like Kirk
crazy.
Cousins is struggling, but that's not what you want to see against Philadelphia. Like you want to like that's it's wild to me. I don't know what is he just bad or what's going on? Like the coach does not like him. Like he's supposed to be this super athletic tight end, but they don't even use him like that. It's kind of scary. Another thing I want to mention is Worthy. Worthy is like that's what this is. Okay, I wasn't hating the first week. I was just saying the reality of it. He got 3.2 points. That's because his usage, right? He got two receptions. He just got 17 receiving yards. It's like boomer bust player. Like he could be really good. Like don't get me wrong, and he isn't a good offense, great opportunity. But this is the reason why I said it wasn't like a good flex because you want like consistency, and if you don't get it, the weeks you don't get it, then that's gonna become automatically a low scoring week. But
Yeah, because in total he only got like 7 targets throughout those 2 games. Yeah, in the first game he didn't make those targets count.
yeah, the
But
super
this
hyper
in
efficient.
this right in this game it didn't pan out as well as we had hoped.
Yeah, for sure. Um, that's and then Mahomes didn't even have the best game either.
Yeah,
He Cincinnati was like clamping him pretty good. Kelsey, I mean, it's not in this matchup, but Kelsey is like he wasn't anywhere to be found. So of course, like if Worthy and Kelsey aren't getting like what you need from them, Mahomes is going to kind of struggle too. He got 12 points. The only beneficiary of that was Rashi Rice. He took it to the house. It was like one of his two passing touchdowns, which is great for Rashi. But Mahomes got like a little bit above half his projected points. So like most of this guys have underperformed.
yeah, Brandon
Even
Ayuk.
even Ayuk. I'm an owner
Yeah,
of Ayuk and GG, and it's like I mean I don't believe that he's fallen off or nothing like that. It's like he just was like not in early in camp, So it's like I think it's gonna take a little bit to kind of get back up to speed. But now that they lost Debo, I feel like going forward is gonna be nice for him. Just this week it wasn't it for him. On the
yeah,
other
yeah. I
side,
mean that is the case and stuff with like that's why I brought up the whole Jamar Chase. Is these players missing out on like camp and preseason, because then it also goes for the Cincinnati Bengals, where like the
yeah.
Bengals didn't start any of their starters during the preseason, and this is why they're starting 0-2.
Yeah, you gotta be patient with these players. I mean, we already know what they could do. It's just like, but at the same time, it's like you gotta get wins in the season. On the other side of the matchup, Hector Flowers went off for him in Baltimore. He got a lot of usage this week, like way more. Like you see, Likely and Mark Andrews like kind of not get as much love as Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers being zoned in on and just hyper targeted, and
Yeah, that's crazy.
the one guy that kind of threw me off was Richardson because in my head like the Packers like with Malik Wilson was going to be like an easy matchup because they were going to be pushing the ball, et cetera, et cetera. And Richardson on the other side, he's just like over here throwing interceptions. He got 3 interceptions. I was like, what? He likes to sling the ball, but the Packers aren't the same defense as the Houston. They the Houston gave up like too many 50-yard passes, and Richardson like the first thing he did was like throw an interception like down 40 yards. And he had the stack with Pittman, and so like if they
If they
weren't
weren't
performing.
performing,
That's the thing
yeah,
with the stacks, right? If like same way with the Mahomes and Worthy, it's like Richardson and Pittman were performing, then it's like your score suffers from that, and you could tell
exactly.
because this was like a lower scoring matchup from both of them. Both of the teams underperformed. Um, on the side of Hector, those two players that overperform, which is Jefferson and well, Jacobs like was on par with his projections, but I would say that he overperformed my expectations because I thought the like I said the matchup was going to be like easy and it was going to be harder for Green Bay, but they were actually playing from ahead, so it's like now Jacobs gets some opportunity to run the ball. And it's funny because I saw two highlights. It was the same highlight, but it was like two clips of the center in Green Bay. He puked on the ball, and he literally puked on the ball, and the dude's like snapped it to Malik, and it's like, and like it was like he handed it off. It's like, oh, like I can't throw. It's like
Oh,
all slimy and stuff.
yeah,
And then the
right.
second one, he took it, and then he just like wiped his hand, and it's like he took it for a quarterback run. But yeah, nothing to do with the matchup, but it was pretty funny. Jefferson's the one that overperformed. It's like holy, he had that. It was like 97-yard touchdown pass from
Yeah, exactly.
freaking
It was so
Sammy, bro.
crazy.
Sammy of all people. Like you, it's like Sam Darnold. We did not expect that of him. He was also efficient this week too. So it's like, is that something we could keep expecting from him? That would be pretty cool for a Jefferson owner.
I do hope so. Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of great weapons in Minnesota and stuff. So like with Sam Darnold, it kind of looked like
Yeah, it would be good
maybe
for
want to stay
fantasy.
away from it. Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, like Jefferson, we knew Jefferson is a good receiver. It's like he's gonna get his regardless. But the fact that Sam's actually doing like well, it's like, and that's even better for Jefferson because obviously, if you have above average quarterback play, then you're gonna do even better. And that was a sick ass play. That's probably gonna be at the end of the outro today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first matchup. Hector beat up Martin and give him another L. The next
Do we want to
matchup. So,
do? Did we want to talk about
oh yeah,
about
the
him
LV.
forgetting Evan Ingram?
Oh, that too, actually. And then right before, yeah, Evan Ingram, I forgot Evan Ingram. The thing is, he forgot about Evan Ingram, or forgot, or didn't check his thing, and he still beat Martin with it. So that's kind of like tells
Yeah,
you
that's
what
crazy.
place Martin's team is like right now. Ingram, like, he just played him. He has goose egg. Didn't help him beat Martin, but he didn't. It didn't help himself.
It, yeah,
Uh,
didn't need it.
he could have played anybody, get like 2 more points, 3 more points, but he didn't.
Exactly.
I'll say that's his LVP for sure. His MVP is Jefferson. I talked about him. He had a blow up game. On the other side, Martin. I guess his LVP would be Worthy. Actually, I would give it to Pitts just because of the usage would be so frustrating. Like
Yeah,
especially because like that's somebody Worthy, you kind of know he would be boomer bust, but like Pitts, you want to have that like baseline and a
he's
good
been in the
matchup.
season for so many years,
And
So
yeah, it's like, is this gonna be the year? It's gonna be the year. And then also on a good matchup, you kind of expected better. So that would be his
right.
LVP. And his MVP, I would give it to Charbonnet. Even though Henry put up more points, Charbonnet, even it also too because of the matchup, it was kind of funny. Like he wasn't getting nothing early on, and then at the end
Yeah,
of the game, he's got most of his points. But yeah, because he didn't have any rushes. He had like 30 yards or something like that. Well, he ended up with 38 rushing yards, but the touchdown saved him. That's what I'm trying to say. The touchdown was
yeah.
good for him and the reception yards. But
Four,
yeah, that was his
14 attempts for 38. That's crazy.
yeah. But I mean, he ended up with the tutty, so it's like that's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's the good thing about having backups. Like whenever the main guy goes down, you could just put him in your lineup and guarantee like a top play. All right, for the next matchup, we have Tito versus Tyler, and this was also a relatively close matchup. On Tito's side, Stroud was facing the Chicago Bears, and he had a pretty mediocre game. Like the Chicago was doing pretty well, like the defense to say the least. So he
yeah.
kind of kept them to a 14-point game. Olave on the other side, he had a double digit game, but I think it's kind of like worrying a little bit because like the team put up 44 points, and Olave's over here sitting with 81 yards and 4 receptions. And it's like, even I know it was against Dallas and stuff, but it's like a second round grade wide receiver coming into week 2, and again putting up like I would say low numbers for what we expect from Olave on a hyper offensive team, which we nobody expected the Saints to be. I
Right,
think. I mean, it's not worrying for Olave. I'm gonna rephrase that. It's worrying that he did that, but I think going forward he would be fine because of that same reason. But it's he didn't perform though. It was kind of weird. That was kind of a weird outlier thing for him. Um, the one that is worrying is Terry McLaurin. That offense is kind of very stagnant. It's very run heavy, and
yep.
then Jaden Daniels also when he passes the ball, it's like he's not really working for Terry. Kind of like weird. Like they have to develop a chemistry, And it's not the Terry of old times that we know.
Yeah,
Uh, I wonder if this one I'll be more worried about because going forward in the season, it's nothing that you could expect change from other than chemistry building. But He's the running quarterback. So and Brian Robinson's also been having a great decent start to the year. So yeah, he put up 5 points. Now the one I would not be worried about is A Chain. A Chain is a freaking a beast. He uh he was going off pre Tua injury. He was going off post Tua injury.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, dude, they're gonna use him no matter what the game script. They're gonna run him. They're gonna pass the ball to him. They're gonna put him in the slot. He's a workhorse. Like of all, he's like prime Kamara type. Except Kamara's still doing prime Kamara stuff. But
Exactly.
it's like really good. Um, yeah. Another thing I was gonna talk about is not a primary position player, but Bates. And even though he dropped him, but I really like him as a kicker because of the dome games and stuff like that.
Yeah,
He's gonna
right.
have a lot of opportunity in that offense to kick a lot of field goals. Like I said, he did drop one, but he performed for him this week. Um, let's see. Oh, we talked about Cup. Cup, he got hurt. Obviously, we talked about that. The Rams. It was already kind of like because we mentioned too, like the offensive line. It's like so much pressure on Stafford that it was kind of hard to get anything going. He on the week one, he did get a lot of targets. He got hyper targeted because of Puka injury. But now, like
Yeah,
people, that was like during the game, right? But now teams had a 1 week to prepare against Cup,
Cooper
like
Cup.
the
Yep.
solo cup. Um,
Yeah.
and like I think it showed too because it's like, and even though like we said it was Arizona and they're not good at pass rush, but they made them look good because just the offensive line play was so bad. Yeah, Cup got injured and obviously he underperformed because of due to the injury. But yeah, let's talk about Tyler's side of the ball. Tyler, he had Nico Collins going against Chicago, and Nico was a grown ass man. He was
Yep.
we couldn't stop him, man. And it's crazy
Nope.
because he's the ex receiver in a team where it's like everyone's so talented. We got Joe Mixon, we got Diggs, we got Tank Dell, to the point where it's like, where's even Tank Dell? Because Tank Dell was like a beast last year too, but it's like now they're like feeding Collins. Like they have. I saw this video with John Gruden. It's like they're talking about they run the triple set where they have the three receivers on the one side, and then they have Nico, the X receiver, over here. So it's like they have all the attention on this side, and they have the one-on-one matchup, and they just throw it to Nico, and he gets the 50-50 ball. He's just like big as hell, and he just like knows how
He's the
to
center of attention. He's the
for,
centerpiece of this offense.
for sure. He nearly doubled his projections. He got 23 points. One that was kind of a dud for him was Waddle, and that's just going back to the injury of Tua. Like he kind of
Yeah.
collapsed. Buffalo's defense was actually playing above their means or whatever you call it. They're doing really well, and yeah, after Tua got hurt, Skyler was not. He wasn't doing anything. So Waddle underperformed that matchup. We have Barkley and Kyron Williams as running backs. They got right on par with their projections, and they just had a pretty standard game. They kind of for Kyron, he got the usage because of like we said, we couldn't get it like the passing game going, so they were just kind of like, especially near the end, they just kept giving it to Kyron, and he kept building up rushing yards because it's kind of like they were already down so much that they were just trying to run out the clock, for because they didn't want to risk any more injuries or they didn't want to, just they
Yeah.
just kind of
I
wanted
think they pulled them right, like during the ending of the game.
at the
Like,
end of the like by the fourth quarter. But
yeah,
before that, when they were still down like 20 points, and they were just like using them just to kind of kill clock because it's like the game was kind of over already.
yeah.
But as for Barkley's side, he had a great game. He had a it wasn't like week one great, but it was still really good.
So yeah,
And his
still good.
usage is there. His role is like really good in Philly. Like they have so many weapons over there. I mean, AJ Brown's not active right now, but Barkley is like he would have had even a better game if he didn't have missed that pass near the goal line.
Right.
But but yeah, that was sweet. What else? We have yeah, that's it for the base. We have Dak Prescott. He kind of underperformed against New Orleans. Like New Orleans was defensively doing well, and then not on top of that, like Kamara and the gang were going
Well,
off.
what are your thoughts on Amari Cooper? Amari Cooper only got 2.6.
Oh yeah, I told them first week because his air yards were like there. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, don't worry, because like Cooper, like if he would have got that touchdown in the first week, he would have been good. This week he was bad. He was only got three. Well, he got like 4 or 5 targets, but he only got 3 receptions for 11 yards. 11 yards, bro. As Cooper, I feel like Cooper needs to be used more as far like Jerry Judy is getting more usage than Cooper, it's kind of sad. But also, like,
Honest.
it's more worrying because Watson's like performing very doo-doo. And that team's
Uh,
offense is kind of like what's going on. Like I mentioned earlier with Ford and stuff, like they just trying things. I feel like their defense was playing well, so I don't understand. On offense, it's like they got to get it together. Like Cooper is kind of scary going forward. I don't know. I don't think he started him this week, but yeah, last week he started him, and it kind of burned
yeah.
him a little bit, just a little bit, because he ended up with a dub. And I would say
Right.
something like
Exactly.
he's Tucker and Kansas City got him 22 points combined. So as a kicker and defense, we kind of underrate them, but it's like they have a big chunk of our team points. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I think because of that, he's edged. No pun intended. He edged Tito out. He almost got 100 points, and Tito got 87. But going into Monday night, I know Tito had Goder and Tyler had Barkley and another player, I think, or just no, he just had Barkley. But
Yeah.
there was no way he was outscoring him because it was just he was already had like 2 points. But yeah, I'd say Tito's MVP was definitely aging, and going forward, I think he's gonna be aging. He's gonna carry his team as much as he possibly can, especially now that two is hurt. Might have like a lot of checkdowns and stuff like that. And his LVP, I would give it to McLaurin because
Yeah. McLaurin. Yeah.
yeah, McLaurin. It
It
was
was a
not as
plus
bad as other
matchup.
people's players, but it was a plus. Like you said, it's a plus matchup, and also it's like his usage was not there. It's like I feel like they gotta get him involved for the offense to start clicking, you know. And on the other side of the ball, Tyler's MVP was for sure Nico Collins. Nico Collins got him 23 points, and he was just performing out of his mind. He got a touchdown, and his LVP for sure Cooper, Amari Cooper.
Mari. Yeah.
You gotta get more touches. All right, for the last matchup is you versus Rigo. I thought this was kind of funny because we when we were doing the ranking last week, you're like, "Oh, I'm 10," and I'm like, first I said like, "No way you're below no way you're below John." But even before, if you watch the video again, guys, give us more views.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
I said like I would put you in the tier like near Hector and Rigo, and I had Rigo and Hector lower than you. And then sure enough, you had a blow up week. So it's kind of like it's reassuring, you know. It's like
Yeah.
you know, you know that your players could do this, and so it's kind of like that's awesome, right? Now you just expect them to meet their projections, and then you'd be kind of well off, you know, for the season. Um, as far as Rigo's team, it's like most of his players did not meet their projections. It was the opposite, and it kind of shows you the difference. And yeah, and obviously fantasy is kind of luck related, but it's
Yeah.
like you see the potential, you see what you draft the players for. It's for their ceiling, you know. And you got players like Murray. Murray surprised. I mean, I wouldn't say surprised me. Like I know he's done it before, but it's like, bro, like he didn't lose a step. Like he was playing on his mind, especially against that team. I mean, he was just slinging it. It helped a lot that Marvin Harris Jr. or Marvin.
Well,
I
it
mean,
helped.
yeah, it helped a lot that he did really
Yeah.
well.
It helped that he actually threw it more to him. Like,
Oh yeah, he saw him. He was playing like those feet that those things that you put in your foot
yeah.
so you get taller.
The
Uh,
stilts.
yeah, the stilts. And also, Neighbors had a great game. He was hyper
Yeah.
targeted. Well, in my opinion, I don't think that's sustainable like that. That
Uh,
defense was like getting shredded by him. But it was a close game, so his usage was there. And just going forward, he might not get hyper targeted, but it's very nice to see that he could. If he is, and he's coming down with the targets, he is that player. You know, he's that type of player. So you could rely on him. DK Metcalf, to my surprise, but I was about to talk shit last week. I probably did.
oh,
Um,
you did. You mentioned about lockout
Chris- yes,
cornerbacks. You know.
dude, this is funny because Chris Rodriguez, he was locking him down, and then they had
Yeah.
that play where he was not on him, and then he busts New England's cheeks out
Yep.
open. It's like the one play, bro, and he had that touchdown bomb. It's like, damn, like maybe you need to keep him on him. But that was really great for you. Like you got
Oh
he
yeah.
put up
I'll take it.
he put up more than double the projections, so that was good. And Brees Hall, I'm a Brees Hall owner, one of my other leagues, and he had a great game. I feel like the offense runs through him, no pun intended. But it's like right now they do like just run, little check down pass, and then like a slant to Garrett Wilson. And it's like that's the offense. Like Aaron Rodgers is not really throwing the ball like that. Like I don't know if it's just like he's warming up to the game again or
Yeah. I
something.
mean, like 8 targets.
Well,
That's amazing for a running back.
we'll take it, right? We'll take it, but
Yeah, exactly.
just keep warming up to the game. Like if you don't get to like Aaron Rodgers of old times, we love that because that's good for
Yep.
Brees Hall. Um, yeah, are your players so far that blew up? Pacheco had a medium game, a midish game, right? He made his projections, but he got hurt. I don't know at what time of the
Yeah.
game he got hurt,
I
but
think
he
it
ended
was
up
in
being
the probably like third quarter, if I'm not
maybe like early
mistaken.
third or something, right?
Yeah.
He still put up numbers though. The only thing is like going forward, obviously he got hurt, and actually just today I found out that it might be for the season.
Mm,
I'm not
exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
That's what Andy Reid said, but he doesn't. It's not official, so
He's not a doctor, all right? He's not a doctor.
he's not. He doesn't. He's a coach. He just eats burgers for fun. Um, then we have Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill, it's a tight end, very volatile
Yeah.
position. He got
Oh,
one of the lowest scores in your team. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like in the grand scheme of things, you're just trying to put somebody in there to get you some points. And it is funny because like New Orleans got so many points offensively that like he didn't get if he didn't get it and Olave didn't get it, it's like who's over here eating, right? It's Shaheed,
yeah,
obviously, but
exactly.
it's Shaheed.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like
And
yeah,
Kamara.
and Kamara. It's just them two. Drake London, he what? He got 14 points?
Yeah.
Oh, we love the Drake. Nah, but it's funny. He was the only thing that was cooking in this office, huh? It wasn't for that touchdown though. What do you think? Would you still have been
He
having
would
a great week?
he wouldn't have had a great week. He would have had a mediocre one. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
better than the first week, but still mediocre. Like,
yeah, it's just I feel like they just have to get him more involved. That offense is kind of strange. They have the pieces, but it's like I don't know if Kirk Cousins when he'll get back into the rhythm of things. We
right?
said
Because
for Aaron,
even Bijan, like Bijan,
yeah,
he's owed a touchdown. You know?
mm, he's gonna get one eventually, right, Freddie?
Yeah.
Eventually. But yeah, I feel like if he gets going, I mean, he'll be worth your second round draft pick. He performed for you this week, so he's 1-1. You're good.
Yeah.
Going to the other side of the ball, Rigo played Caleb Williams, and unfortunately for Bears fans and his fantasy team, he didn't have a good game, especially for fantasy. He did throw the two interceptions, so that was very detrimental. Not only because he loses points, but also because you get the other team gets the ball. So now you have less time on the clock, and if you don't have possessions, then like how are you gonna get points? He had Tyreek Hill as well, and that whole Tua thing, right? Like the pass game was gone during that game. I feel like going forward, even though he did trade, I mean, spoiler, he traded him away. But going forward, Tyreek Hill is still okay, right? They could game plan. Like it's just that during the game when it happens, it's not the same thing. You can't just expect the backup to come in and just take over like Tua. It's like Tua was already not having a great game because the Buffalo defense was going ham. But Tyreek Hill is an athlete and he'll get his points. It's just this week it didn't happen. I think the same for Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, if you have Aaron Rodgers throwing all these like shorter passes, these slant passes to Garrett Wilson, he got 4 receptions this week, but he can have a week where he gets 8 receptions and he's gonna go ham. Like he just has to have that game, but it hasn't happened yet. But he's a talent and he's in I would argue a good offense. It just has to like develop a little bit more. But this week he underperformed as well. He got 8 points. The guy that didn't underperform, or two of the guys, both of his running backs have been going crazy.
David
Monty and
Montgomery.
Connor. Trusty Monty and Trusty Connor. Like, man, like how many times do they have to write off James Conner for him to be like, nah, like I'm
Yeah,
still the
right.
guy. We want to say, oh, James Conner. Like every year they want to hype up the running back, like Trey Benson this year. They want to hype up the guy behind him. It's like, oh, he's gonna get hurt eventually. It's like, bro, he's him.
Yeah,
He got great usage, especially because they were so ahead. They got ahead so early that they just kept running the
exactly.
ball.
Yep.
That was very good. And then for Monty is crazy. He got like a crazy stat. Like he got like 17 touchdowns in the last, or he got like 15 touchdowns in the last 17 games or something like that. It's like, bro, he just gets touchdowns. Like, what do you want me to say? He gets to the goal line and he's gonna get the opportunity.
Exactly.
This game, Detroit lost, and they had a plus matchup against Tampa Bay, but they were favored and they actually lost. But still, he still found a way to get the end zone, and that was great for Rigo. Well, those were like his two highest scoring guys. Other than that, everybody else underperformed. DJ Moore, like we mentioned with the stack, if the stack's not performing, it's not a good stack.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. Yeah.
So it's like that's the risk you take. The one thing I did warn him about was likely, and he played likely, and I was like, likely's likely gonna get like you not the same amount of points, and he got 3.6. And like I said, the tight end position is really volatile, but 3.6 is not moving the needle at all.
Yeah, it's not.
And so I think he might have invested in some new tight end talent this week. Who knows? I guess we'll see in a bit. Um, Other than that, yeah, his other players kind of like his defense and his kicker are like very mid. So he ended up with 76, and you nearly doubled his points, 143. I think going for the next segment when we do the rankings, I think we can we can readjust this for this week. So for the MVP, I would give it to your quarterback because that was like one of the um players that's kind of like exceeded my expectations, and he's playing really well. Like he's just on it, bro. And he got 20 points. He got 28 points.
Yeah,
Another reason why it's him is because if you look around the league, like the quarterbacks underperformed like all around the league. There's only like other like 2 or 3 quarterbacks that performed okay ish, like 18 points or 16, something like that. But like a lot of quarterbacks are hitting 7 points, 8 points, 12 points, 10 points. Like, dude, it's like I feel bad about my golf having 8 points, but it's like some other big name quarterbacks are having like 9 point games, like Josh Allen. So if you get a 28-point game, it kind of separates you from everybody else. And your LVP, I would give it to. I mean, I would give it to the only guy who scored a low, which is Hill.
somehow. Yeah,
It's your tight end, bro. But tight end having LVP is not a L at all. You know, like that's the most volatile position, I think. For
yeah.
Regal, his MVP is James Conner for sure. He was tied to your Murray. So I mean, two birds, right? Two birds for the MVP. His LVP is definitely likely another tight end. Maybe one of us will get You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna give it to likely just because I warmed him about it. But Tyreek Hill didn't have a great game, but that's because of I would
Yeah,
say
that's a
actually
two one. Yeah,
More Tua than Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill would have performed, if given the chance.
yeah.
Likely, he was in a positive game scenario and he didn't perform. So that's that. Uh, yeah, that's the end of the matchups. I think now we can go into the rankings.
As always, we're gonna start with number 12, right?
Um, yeah, we'll
Or
start
should we
with
just skip
12.
to number one now?
Let's do the number one. Okay, so yeah, so last week we had a Stacy at 12. I think
Yep,
I think we keep her at 12. What do you think?
I agree.
One, because her output in points last week was terrible, and I did so this week she did make moves to make her team better. I think it got better. I just think it's not. It has to prove itself because she has some sort of core, right? She has Josh Allen, C.D. Lamb, and Mike Evans, right? And then after that, it's kind of like dissolves into nothing. Not nothing, but also not anything great. So those guys have to like prove themselves and like show up for her to win her games. I think until something else happens where she gets something that like Zamir White or something gets going, Javante or something. Javante has a couple good matchups this week. Then she would just hold on to the number 12 because like I don't see anybody being worse than that currently. Number 11. Do you have anybody in mind?
Um, I gave it to Tito.
Tito. Ooh, fall from grace.
Yeah,
Um, let me see if there's anybody else in that tier because I did have them
yeah.
low. I don't know about 11 low, but I did have them low. I would
Let me know
say,
who you have at 11.
how about who do you have at 10? I have John at 11 still.
I do have John at 10.
So let's do this Tito versus John debate. Damn, well, yeah, Tito lost Cup and he lost CMC,
Christian McCaffrey,
and then
and then
he still doesn't really have a tight end.
and we talked about his wide receivers, Chris Olave and Terry McLaurin.
Yeah,
Terry, Scary Terry being like one that we're definitely
yeah.
like questioning.
On Fantasy Pros, I've seen his receivers ranked as 12, so he has like the worst receiver. Obviously after he lost Cup. Um, yeah. So his highlights of his team is Stroud and his running backs, Aaron Jones and A Chain. But yeah, it's kind of rough. Whereas let's see, John.
Yeah,
John,
John has Stephon Diggs,
yeah, Diggs, Chase,
Jamar
Cook.
Chase,
Yeah, yeah,
Jaden
yeah.
Reed.
Diggs, Diggs, Chase, and Cook is I think to me his core, and Kelsey if he does like he starts performing at Kelsey, which he
Yeah,
might because now Pacheco is out and they might have to be more like pass heavy.
right, exactly.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you, Tito 11 and John 10. Yeah, because I to overcome that, it's kind of tough. Kind of hard. It's like you're round one and round two, and then if you're round three, Olave is not. Which I do think he will bounce. Like he start getting games where he starts going off, but until that happens, I don't think like if that's the guy that's moving the needle for you, it's kind of rough.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I'll have yeah I'll agree with you. So Tito 11, and then John 10. So then now for the ninth spot, I would say,
Um,
or you go ahead, you could say something.
yeah. I gave it to Hector.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure who you have at 8, but I actually have between so Hector and Martin. Um,
Ooh, interesting.
are you considering post trade this week?
Um, no, I guess I'm going based on week two and stuff because I guess
Yeah, because I think in my opinion, power rankings should be like going forward. Like, yeah, the performance in week 2 matters, but I think like going forward, how good of a team he has
I
or
got you.
they.
I got you.
So, taking that into consideration, I think Hector is better off because he got Tyreek Hill now, and so his wide receiver is probably the best in the league, and he has
True.
Richardson. So Richardson could have like he's like a good floor quarterback with a high ceiling potential. Um, it's just his running backs are kind of weak. So in a half PPR kind of league, like you can have the receivers kind of overperform and kind of help you out with that. Uh, the thing that kind of hinders him, in my opinion, he dropped Engram. Yeah, I know Engram had a 0 obviously, but he was not playing. And
Yeah.
to drop a tight end like that in a league where it's like not the league,
Everybody's
but
thirsty.
just the season is like yeah, everyone's thirsty, but the season as well. Like the season, like the tight ends are not doing that well. So like just to drop that kind of talent is kind of bad. It does hinder his team. That's why I had him like close to like 9. But going and checking Martin's team, he has Mahomes. I mean, it's that worthy, right? It's the worthy and Ayuk kind of question. Like his running backs are solid. I think going forward, like Charbonnet is more like secure than Ford, just because it's kind of weird what they did last week to him. Yeah, what I didn't see any explanation online. I don't know if that's going to
But
continue going forward.
he did trade for Pollard as well.
Oh, he did. You're right. Um,
And then AJ Brown is kind of a little hurt and stuff, so we don't know when he's coming back.
yeah, they said a few weeks, so I think that is gonna hinder him. Uh, I think more than Hector because I think Hector's could get carried by his wide receivers, whereas Warren, it's harder to get carried by your running backs if your receivers underperform, and also Kyle
Yeah.
Pitts. Kyle Pitts is kind of like he's in Martin jail right now. um, and Charbonnet too. Like yes, Charbonnet is going to be the RB1 for that team, but if he has like the efficiency he had last week, kind of
And and it
not
all
good.
amounts to if either Ken Walker is going to be playing or not, because that's the reason
That
why Charbonnet got the points.
yeah, that's true. And then like the most secure player in this team is Henry, and yeah, that's I think Martin would be 9. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, I'll agree with that then. And then we're
Okay.
going to move Hector to 8 then, right?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I was being modest. I gave myself 8.
You would, bro. Yeah, you climbed. You probably swap places with the Martin, maybe. All right, so now we have 7, 7, 6. Let me see. I have.
So you
I
have
I
Martin
would
at
do.
9,
Yeah, and then Hector at
Hec-
8.
Hector 8.
I think I'd have Rigo and
I, I have
probably.
Rigo at I have Rigo at 7.
I agree. I think we could just put him at 7 because I think
Mm,
the next people ahead are kind of like a different tier. I think, and I might be biased because one of them is probably me, but I think I do agree. Let's just break down Rigo's team. Well, now he that post trade still. Um, he now has Jaden Daniels, so that's an improvement for sure.
it
But
is definitely
he
improvement.
did lose. He lost Tyreek Hill. So the only thing you have to ask yourself is like, is losing Tyreek Hill for Josh Jacobs worth it? Because I seen his team and he's starting Wilson and DJ Moore, and basically he's starting the three running backs, which is Monty, Connor, and Jacobs. So he's not really gonna have a chance to. I mean, if he's gonna play what's the Flowers? If he's gonna play Flowers, then he can't play either Wilson or DJ Moore, and I don't see him. At least I wouldn't really play Flowers over them two. And then, like the other questions that you're gonna ask, like, are you gonna play Flowers over Josh Jacobs? Because then, in my head, you kind of downgraded Tyreek Hill for one of those flex players, but in exchange, you got a better quarterback. So that's kind of like the only question is like, if
Yeah,
Jaden
because
Daniels performs, then it's gonna be a good move. But if he doesn't perform, he does have the depth in his team. But as far as like a weekly output, I don't know if it's gonna improve his team that much. Like
yeah, because I mean, if you look at it, it really amounts to he traded Tyreek Hill for Jaden Daniels and Josh Jacobs. I'm not even going to count Zay Flowers in that. I'm
mhm.
going to look at those two positions and stuff.
Yeah, like the bigger
So he
pieces that affect the team.
so he did upgrade his quarterback position, which
Mhm.
is a onesie position, but it is a better improvement to Caleb Williams. And then Josh Jacobs, um, man, he's getting a lot of rush attempts, and with a
Mhm.
lot of rush attempts, you get the your opportunities just like through the roof and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, them together, would they actually score the same as Tyreek Hill though?
And then you have to consider the opportunity cost. That's if you're thinking like if Caleb Williams was playing. But
Right.
we did have Derek Carr on the waivers. We had Justin Herbert on the waivers, and we had Geno Smith. So
Okay.
had he gone in, probably gotten them. I think them plus Hill or one of them. Like if you called it right, I think that could
True.
have been
True.
possibly better. But it could be true that maybe he's afraid of Tua injury and like the maybe Hill's production is going to be lower. So this is kind of like a
Maybe.
toss up, but that's just kind of like the
Yeah.
breakdown of his team. It's like we will find out in a couple of weeks if he hit or miss with that trade.
I
But
mean, because this trade did happen after the Thursday night game, so
yeah, I mean
I'm
his
kind
rank
of
is to be fair, his rank didn't really change much. It went from eight
no, it
to
didn't.
7. It actually went up one.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
All right, going to number 6 now. 6 and number 5 maybe. What are two guys you think are near there? I will put myself there. I think me. Who's left?
Well,
Me and
then,
you.
yeah, me and you, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So you will go number 6 because I actually have you at number 5.
Oh shoot. Yeah, I was gonna make. Well, I was gonna make a. Yeah, I'll make an argument for why I'm number 5, especially now because this week I got
Wait,
Burrow, Joe Burrow, right?
right.
On top of
Wait,
that,
you say
I
you put yourself number 6, right?
no, I just had me and you like 5 and 6, but I think you
Oh,
were.
okay.
I think you're 6 and I'm 5.
Okay.
But this is why I think that because even though your team performed really well, I just
Yeah.
think going forward, you did lose Pacheco, so that's like already kind of hinderment. Um, And like I said, the your receivers did really well this week, so it's like that's good to see. But in my opinion, for me, I just have like untapped potentials. Like Adams showed his cards. He's Adams. He's still got
Yep.
decent usage, so that's really great to see. I know I got roasted on like chat by Manny, but it's like really is the wide receiver one in that team, and he's gotten the usage of it, and he's got air yards, but he doesn't have like I mean, he does have to show for it because he got 22 points in week 2, but I benched him
Yeah.
for Mason. But so he did show also he could do it. Pickens showed also that he could do it. Obviously, the calls were there, but he didn't show the number. but he got the 50-yard catch. He got the target in the end zone. He got the touchdown that got called back. He got the like 40-yard PI. It's like he's getting usage. So it's like now that has to, translate into fantasy points, but at least I'm the owner. I know he's good, right? At least I don't feel like, skittish about it or nothing like that. As far as the running backs, I got Jameer Gibbs and Jonathan Taylor both putting up 14 points, no touchdown. It's like, damn, that usage is crazy for a running back to get 14 points and not even get a touchdown. I think going
It's
forward, if
good.
they're owed some like blow up games. So that's my reason. I have also Burrow and Andrews, and I think they can have like good games ahead of them. On top of the fact that now I have all the cuffs. I have all the cuffs.
Yeah,
So if anything happens, I feel pretty
you
good about that.
you sneaky. That's why.
Man,
Sneaky style.
imagine that's crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't. I have no dispute with me being in 6 and you in 5. Because like what I'm gonna say is, my bench is not that great, um, compared to yours. Because like for instance, like you have the running back depth. You have Jameer Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, and Jordan Mason.
Hmm.
You have the security with like anybody. If any of our starting running backs go down, you've already got the backup for
Hmm.
it. Your wide receivers, you could go between Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, and George Pickens.
Yep. And
Oh,
I don't
you
have
got a
to
little
play
Adam
him.
Thielen down there. Now with Andy Dalton, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and then you upgraded your quarterback. You went from Jared Goff to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's definitely going to go. He's definitely going to get back to what he is, because the Bengals have a history of going 0-2 for the past couple of years. So
Yeah.
they're
But
going to get back up there.
he had an okay game last week, and then this week he has a very plus matchup. So
Yeah,
if you can't get it going this week, then I don't know what to tell you. But I feel like good about him.
and they
Okay,
got
so
to fire the head coach.
we're gonna put you at 6 here, Dion,
Yep.
and then Sal 5. So now we have left. We have Manny, Ryan, Tyler, and Fred. Who do you think? 3 and 4.
So 3 and 4. Number 4, I got Manny.
Is who's your 3?
And
Is it
number
Tyler?
3, I got Tyler.
Looking at Tyler's team right now, um, his best, in my opinion, his best pieces is Barkley and Collins. Um, he does have a pretty good tight end because he has Laporta and Brock Bowers. So
Yeah,
it's kind of like if he plays them well, I feel like he can get good points out of him. He has Kyron and Jake and Waddle too. What was his other receiver? Um,
he's got Amari Cooper, which I mean, we're
yeah,
hoping he gets up there. Christian Kirk and Keenan Allen and Brandon
but,
Cooks. Brandon Cooks
oh,
is pretty decent actually.
I'd say
He's okay.
for sure, Waddle and Collins is like automatic play, and then like the flex is kind of like we gotta get right. But I feel like he has to make that choice and kind of call it every week. So it's not like
True.
always automatic. And then Dak Prescott has to show up too. But I think his core is not Nico Collins. I would say Barkley, and then like secondary tiers like Waddle and Kyron Williams. But now Kyron Williams is without any wide receiver help.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
might just
They're just
stack the box.
gonna stuff the. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that's kind of iffy on that part.
Well,
But
what's Puka's time frame? Do you know?
that I don't know. But
Did
he
he
doesn't.
go on IR or?
He went on IR. I think he's like 6 weeks maybe. But that's Ryan, right?
Yeah, let me take a look. So,
Because if we look on the other side, Manny has his core. Well, he has like a lot of running backs. We don't know Mixon's timeline. I don't know if it's going to be just this week or if not even this week. But he has running back galore, so I feel like he could just start like 1, 2 and flex, and then just up to his wide receivers is like Smith and Marvin Harrison Jr. is really good, and I think that like it rounds out his team very nicely because he has all the starter positions covered, which are like I think above average, and Mayfield's like playing very well. Now that Godwin's in the slot and he just like slinging the ball, I think that kind of outweighs a little bit Tyler's squad, but it's not by a lot because Tyler like Manny's squad is way more balanced. Like I would say it's more of a sure floor type of team, where Tyler's team is kind of like he kind of has to have Barkley and Nico Collins and Waddle perform. Those three mainly. What do you think?
Yeah, once now that I see him and stuff, I do see that he does have Manny does have more variety. His bench is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah,
Kenneth Walker and Joe Mixon.
I feel like
Then
also
still
too, like if you do look at it like projected going forward, if he makes trades too, like he could upgrade like just by volume, like two of those running backs for higher end or whatever. It's just kind of
right,
good. Or if like Joe Mixon's hurt or even Walker's hurt, and he could just have him in the bench chilling because he has that depth. You know.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so yeah, I'll give Manny three then,
All
and
right. So we
Tyler
have
will down to four.
Tyler 4 and Manny 3. Okay. And then the final two. Do we keep the same or do we change? We have Ryan
I
and
got a
Fred.
I got a new number one. His name is Ryan.
Hell yeah. And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. Ryan's number one. Freddie lost the number one. Why though? Freddie won. But Ryan just obliterated. The thing about Ryan's team is they popped off. They pop off and
It,
they're very consistent.
exactly. Like I said, 2 weeks in a row, highest score. I mean, maybe it's not always going to be like that, but he's already got the points.
He's got the points. And he's
He's
got
got the point
Godwin.
advantage.
The thing about Godwin and Kamara is like they're being used really well. Like to the point where it's like that's really juicy. Like you want that out of your team. It's like I don't
Yep.
see them having a bad game because of their usage. Like Godwin in the slot is cheat code, and Camaro it's like the new offense setup that they have over there. Like it's like points galore, and it calls for a lot of like screen pass and all that stuff. Um, it's nice. It's been working out, and you've seen it.
Yeah.
You could have seen it like week one and be like, oh, it's against Carolina. Or it's where they play Carolina, yeah, or it's
Yeah.
against like now it's against Dallas. Like now what? Like if they do it one more
Right.
week, it's
Exactly.
like guaranteed. Like it's gonna be a great offense. Um, and nobody expected that. So those two guys being very used like that, and then he has St. Brown. St. Brown's is gonna be, I think, good all year. He has Lamar Jackson for the upside.
Yep.
That's also really good. Kittle. I mean, Kittle is like probably I would say a top three option right now at tight end because of Debo. So yeah, altogether, I think that's gonna be better than Freddie's team currently right now. It's
Yeah. I
just
mean, because
the
he
ability to
still
pop off like
has
that.
he still
Yeah,
has Puka that could be coming back. I
mhm,
did look at his time frame. It is 5 to 7 weeks, but it doesn't look like he's struggling without him.
yeah, and then on top of the fact too, Freddie did lose Debo too, so they're kind of even
Yeah.
on
But
that spectrum of the team. So yeah, I
yeah,
think
and
I
then Freddie still has a couple of players that aren't you know performing like Dalton Kincaid.
yes,
Uh,
really that's
that's not
about
the.
it. Really, that's about it. But because
I
Stevenson's
mean,
been doing good, Brian Robinson's been doing good. Yeah,
he
right.
might be getting T Higgins back soon, so
Yeah,
that
so
should
that's
be
the thing
interesting.
too. You kind of have to project that into like if Higgins comes back, will he adapt to the offense real fast, or will he
Right.
be slow getting back to speed? But no, like knowing Cincinnati, they might be well off, you know. But will he be getting the numbers Debo was getting? Because Debo was getting good usage.
Yeah.
I think it's really close to again because Freddie's team seems just so secure, but I think we have to give Ryan the number one because it's just like the blow up potential is insane, and he's
Yeah.
shown it. So yeah, we'll do Fred two and then Ryan one to round out the rankings for our new number one.
Congratulations, Ryan.
Congrats, bro. All right, guys. Now we're gonna go into the trade talk for this week.
Yeah, and the first trade we're going to talk is a pretty big trade, and actually the first trade it was between Rigo and Hector. Rigo sending away Tyreek Hill and Caleb Williams, and Hector sending
Blockbuster.
away Josh Jacobs, Zay Flowers, and Jaden Daniels. Now, I actually like this trade a lot. It helps out both teams a lot. Um, Hector upgrades. Actually, he's super upgrades in wide receivers. He's got Tyreek Hill and
Yeah,
Justin Jefferson, which is insane.
that's crazy. Yeah,
But Rigo on the right side, he does upgrade a lot too. He upgrades on his running back and his quarterback. Because Caleb Williams, I'm sorry, he's just not cutting it.
yeah,
And then Zay Flowers is getting a ton of targets. I think he's got at least like 21 targets throughout 2 games.
yeah. To Rigo's credit or benefit, if he plays like he has to call it right, right? If he calls a flex or like the wide receiver like the right weeks, then his team could be really nice. On top of that, if he keeps trading too, like he has Najee and Zay Flowers or any of his wide receivers as pieces, because I think he could keep the three running backs core because that's like, pretty nasty. And
Yeah.
now he has Jaden Daniels, so if he could like maybe even upgrade him or upgrade a running back or something like that, like his team could get even better. I think to me it was an even trade too, like it because like you said, it helped both of them in a different kind of ways, but it helped both of them bolster the team. Like I think going forward, it's gonna be good for them.
Our next trade we got was between Martin and Manny. Martin sending away Jameson Williams, and Manny sending away Tony Pollard.
This
So
one's kind of
I
funny.
believe I
Oh,
believe
yeah,
this
go
one
ahead.
actually helped Martin a lot more.
Mm.
And the only reason I say this is because Manny decided to play Jameson Williams over his number one draft pick. And like I said, it cost him the match. If he would have played Marvin Harrison, he would
Yeah.
have won. So
That's funny. So the immediate impact of the trade is he lost the matchup. I didn't even consider
yeah,
that. That's quite funny. Another funny thing that I thought it was because like Martin was hyping up Jane was so much. It's
on
like,
honor,
dude, the first
yeah,
thing you do is trade him. Like that's so Martin.
yeah,
It's like, dude, everyone's always talking about like, oh, that's such just like we don't know Sal. Like we haven't played with Sal. Like, but it's like, dude, we play with Martin too, and he always does the same things. It's
yeah,
so funny. And yeah, he did that, and then he got his running back. But that's really good. I think for both of them too, is 1 for 1. I love kind of seeing like wide receiver for running back, especially when teams are like needy in whatever department. And Manny had a lot of
yeah.
running backs.
Yeah, then our next trade after that was this was between you and Stacy. It was
The
Braylon Allen versus and Javante Williams.
Oh yeah, I like that trade. I feel like I like that trade especially because I can't. I'm like you said, I have three like top end running backs. Never gonna play Javante Williams. Never. I'm not gonna wait for him to do good. I'm not gonna. I have no interest in playing him. Like I'm not gonna wait on him. But what I could do is wait on Braylon Allen if like Brees Hall gets hurt. Like that, it makes sense. And it makes sense for her team. I think I would argue that it makes sense for her because she needy at running back. Javante has
Yeah,
three. I heard Rigo say Javante was in it, but I can't wait to see if Javante, especially because it's facing him. So he has three good matchups on the way, and his
yeah,
usage has been getting up. Last week, McLaughlin his usage went down actually. So I'm interested in seeing how he performs this week. So maybe just because Rigo talks shit, he might do really good, and then they'll be like, So then I think that's a good trade. It's like a low level trade, but I think it was pretty decent.
All right, so our next one is another South trade.
Another one.
Uh, yeah, you traded with Manny.
I wasn't even trying to
Uh,
get trades this week. I just had to, bro.
you're just like, I need stuff for the podcast. Let me just start making trades.
Yeah, let me just make low
Uh,
level trades.
so then you got Joe Burrow and send away Tank Bigsby.
Man, I was so happy about that one. I did like Tank, but bro just gave me Joe Burrow, bro. I was like on the
He
week
never liked Joe Burrow.
on a week with a positive matchup. I was like, oh my yes, I'll do it right away. Because I did pay $16 for Bigsby, right? But Just
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
paid $16 for Burrow, which I would have if that was
yeah.
available. So I just see it as an absolute win. He wanted Bixby, so yeah, I think that was a great trade for both of us. But when he sent me another trade, I can't remember, unfortunately. It was like more of a mixed package deal. But yeah, this one it was a one for one. I was like, immediately accept. So I accepted.
Then our last trade is another one of yours, uh, with Stacy again. It is. I think you received Tyler Algier, and you gave
Cheer.
away
I was collecting all the
Gus.
handcuffs.
Yep,
I
sneaky
got
Sal.
the Infinity Gauntlet of handcuffs. This one, this one I was kind of relieved because I was funny. Like I remember I was typing in on Discord. I was like, I'm about to send Stacy the what's his name, the Kivante or Keontae. I forgot the guy. He's from Kansas
Oh,
City.
Keontae Ingram.
Yeah, I'm gonna send her this package, but I had posted before that, like probably 10 minutes, like the Gus Bus plus Tampa Bay. I was sending that out, and then
Mm-hmm.
and she accepted before I even got to do the Keontae one. I was like, oh, say less, because I was trying to get space. I was trying to get space to pick up the Adam Thielen, and it was like, all right, 2 for 1. But I was gonna do the 3 for 1, but she accepted it right away. I was like, oh, that works out for me. So now I could see if Keontae, like, yeah, I could see his usage and stuff. So, but again, she gets Gus Bus. Gus Bus was like he had like a who was it like a Charbonnet kind of game where he got like 18 carries, but he
Yeah, he
didn't
had
do
a
much.
lot of. Yeah, he had a lot of
He,
carries.
he got 18 carries, but he didn't do much. But it's like 18 carries, bro. Like I would,
Yeah,
if I needed a running back, I would want someone who gets 18 carries.
exactly. Because opportunities is what's key. If you're not getting the opportunities, you're not going to be scoring them points.
And same thing for like the same thing I said about the other guys. Like I'm not gonna wait on him to perform or like or
Right.
for for him to battle for the job or whatever or just get a split. I'm just gonna play the guys that get like average 14 points. So yeah, but I think that was good for both of us as well. If you guys
Yeah.
disagree, please leave a comment, but just don't say you disagree. I want to know why.
Yeah, we want to give some reasons and stuff.
Was there any more trades after that, or was this just me
No,
100%?
just just you, man. Just you making
Hey,
the content.
I'm just making content out here. Next
Yeah.
week, next week, hit me up on Tuesday. We got more trades.
Yeah. Right. I'll probably hit some trades out there.
Hey,
Um.
maybe you want Keontae.
Oh.
No. Hey,
No.
what?
No. So
How are you gonna repay? I see you starting
I
Dowdle, bro. I don't think you want that.
I did want this one guy, but he was stolen from me. Now we're gonna move on to the waiver wire talk.
Okay.
Carson
Waiver wire.
Steele. Ryan.
Damn, bro. He
Oh,
spent. If you want
it
your
was
guy, you gotta spend money.
$37. Which I mean, I'll whatever. It's fine and stuff. If he would have been $32, I'd probably be even more mad. Because I was the next up on with 31,
Yep.
and then Tito actually dropping 21, which is pretty cool. And then you with $5,
I just want to be seen.
you just want to be included.
Yeah.
FOMO.
Yeah, but I want to be
Then
the guy that put $1 on there, like Martin. Martin be putting up $1 bids. I want to be a little bit more now.
well, he was a little bougie this time and went with $2 this time.
Damn, double or nothing.
Yeah, and then Kansas City. I mean, the top three like bids all went to Kansas City running backs. Carson Steele with 37. Then
Mm.
our next topic was Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt went to Stacy for $21. She
Sheesh.
kind of overpaid on that one
Uh,
because
Titans.
the next bid after that was I think you did with $5.
Oh, 5. Imagine I would have got that one for. I was like trolling. Imagine I got the 5. That'd be nice.
And Ryan went with 4. I went with 3. Then Martin and Tito went with 0.
Yeah. The thing about that is that I agree with Johnny. He said like that's why he didn't mess with Kansas City running backs because what news came out is that Kareem Hunt was put on the practice squad and they moved
Yeah,
up Keontae Ingram from the practice squad and he got signed. So it's like, are they gonna ramp up Kareem Hunt or they're just not gonna use him? It's like weird. If I paid for Kareem
but
Hunt, I'd probably hold him, but I'd be salty.
yeah. I mean, that's why I made the joke. I'm like, I hope this becomes a committee and no one gets any fantasy value.
Yeah, everyone gets 2 points and goes home.
Yeah.
I'm
Then
seeing all. Yeah.
our next Kansas City running back was Samaje P. Ryan. Went for $17 to
Jesus,
Rigo.
Jesus, he's not gonna play him. That was the. Maybe I'm a hater,
Yeah,
but
they
you
they
already
got the
got
money.
you already got the juice, bro. When are you
Yeah,
gonna play him over Monty, Connor, Jacobs, even Najee?
exactly.
I don't know. Maybe he just
Uh,
wants a trade piece or something.
and then yeah, I think that's probably what it is. He might look at me all like
Just keep
desperate and
away.
stuff.
Yeah,
Tito went with $11 on that Samaje bid as well, and then Martin with 4.
that's what I thought I would have did for, especially for Samaje because Samaje was already part of the offense and he wasn't used. So
Yeah, then the next bid was actually not for Kansas City running back. It was for Derek Carr, quarterback. Went
ooh,
to Giancarlo's for $13,
oh
which I kind
wow.
of understand. I mean, he lost Jordan Love and then was
No, I
messing
get it.
around with Stafford
But,
and
but the offense looks good. Like I would have been
yeah.
mad because I had 11 bid on him before I got the Burrow trade, so he would have beat me. I would have been salty out. But thankfully, I didn't
Hey,
need that. I didn't need that bid.
let's see. You want to talk about Quentin Johnson?
Yeah. How much did he pay for him?
Harden paid $13.
$13.
Yeah.
I,
Then the
I
next
said,
bid was $4 for you.
yeah. I
Do
don't
you,
think I. Yeah,
what do
I
you
don't
think
know what
about that?
I don't think it's $17 worth, especially because everybody else doesn't think so either because they didn't bid. But maybe
That's
it's
true.
yeah.
Well, it was $13. It was 13. It's
Martin's
not.
always been a wide receiver hype beast, so he like sniffs them out. So maybe I'll trust him that he will be good. But I personally don't think that's the case. I think it's just like a game scenario. Like we haven't seen
Yeah.
this like before, right? And he hasn't developed yet. Maybe he believes the coach will change that. But this is game two, so we really don't know. But I mean, that's what it is in waiver wires when you pick up in waiver wire in week two. So it's like, yeah, hopefully it works out for him. I don't know. I really don't have an opinion to be honest. I wouldn't personally like him. I mean,
Uh,
I put $4 on him, but I don't think I would use like if I did win the bid. I don't know what I would do with him on my roster. Just chill.
yeah. I think it's more like let's wait and see if
Yeah, because
he's
somebody has to
actually
be the number one there, right? But well, like you said, we have to wait and see. There's a couple of offenses that have, those kind of receivers where it's like we don't know yet still.
yeah.
So we'll find out.
How about
We'll reveal
Deontay
our dudes.
Foreman?
Deontay Foreman,
Deontay
yeah,
Foreman
he
for
deserves he deserves to be picked up because he got 14 carries, and like I said, we don't know what's going on with Ford to like lost that carry share or whatever. It's like, yeah, he deserves to get picked up for sure. That's another like wait and see, but I think it's more sure for running backs because like if they're getting that type of volume, it's kind of like something's happening.
I want to throw more salt into to Manny who bid $19 for Mike Kazicki.
Dude, he like tell me why he was hyping them up all morning, right? And then when I was
Yeah, I
doing
just see
the
that.
thing, I was like, he has McBride, the number one tight end.
Yeah.
Um, what the fuck? Why Gasecki? Like nobody's gonna try to get Gasecki off him, bro. Like I don't know what he's doing with that. It's funny. And 19
Wow.
bucks. He did pay 19 bucks. That's crazy.
Yeah, 19. I don't. He must have really thought someone was going to go for him.
Bro's woke. He's onto something. Or maybe he's onto nothing. Maybe he could explain himself. Explain.
Explain yourself. Come on next week.
Defend yourself. Defend your position.
And other than that, there's nothing else. Did anybody leave us any questions?
We got one that says, has the season seemed to be one of the worst with injury? And I'm paraphrasing because I wrote them down. So Freddie asks, has this been a season that's like one of the worst with injuries in recent history? I think so.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
we're in week two. And not only injury, but yeah, injury to like high level players, right? Like talking about like
Yep.
round one, round two, round three type guys. And some of them were keepers for us, but imagine if you were in a regular like non-keeper league and you
Redraft.
had to like
Yeah.
one, 2, and 3 rounds. Like, dude, you're toast. I mean, we're some of us are already toast, but Yeah, this for sure has been, at least in my recent memory. Not for me though, thank God. But
Yeah, it's definitely impacting a lot of the key players. Tito being one of them, losing Cooper Cup and Christian McCaffrey.
yeah, it's like your whole
Uh,
core of your team. It's harder to replace that kind of level player.
yeah,
Um, yeah. Another question was: has waiver wire been lacking a league winner? Has it been an outlier this year? Well, we're into week 2 already, right? And we maybe
it's
too
not. It's
soon.
too early to tell. Yeah, too
Too
early to
early to
tell.
tell. For other leagues, it could have been Mason, but some guys are savvy and drafted him. Right now it's too early. I think we at least nobody that we picked up. I don't see them being like super super great. Not or like
Yeah,
nobody
let
that
me
we
take
would
a
have
look
invested
at.
a lot of money in.
Let me see last week's pickups. They like made a big impact on. Give me a
I know
second.
I personally haven't. The Yeah, the biggest one for
But
me was Tank Bixby, and that was like not even.
yeah, that wasn't um, that great. Yeah, like
I
Alexander Madison was probably our highest bid at $27. But
Yeah, but that
he did
wasn't.
get a touchdown, but it was just like a 1 yard touchdown,
It wasn't
and
like
that's
it's not
it.
like a league winner type of player. At least
Yeah.
we don't think so.
So
Prove us wrong, Stacy. Prove us wrong.
in the
Uh,
moment, yeah, it's too soon to tell because nobody's.
Hopefully week 3
Um,
or week 3. I'm saving up my money.
yeah,
His other question is Jordan Whittington, is he a league winner? Hell no. We did talk about that offense, right? The offensive line. It's like, bro,
yeah, it's
if Stafford could get enough time to throw it to him, I mean, I'm gonna say no, but hey, prove us wrong, right?
yeah. Like I said, we'll have to wait and see because they're gonna have to figure out something.
Mm.
And by what I can tell you, by the next 3 weeks, it's not going to be great for the Rams. They got
Oh
San
yeah,
Francisco,
might be great for the
Chi-
defenses.
Chicago, and Green Bay.
Damn.
So,
Ooh, I just picked up Green Bay this week.
so
I'd say those other defenses are owned, but they're gonna
start
beat
your
them.
defenses against the Rams. Is what I'm
Damn.
telling you.
Question by sent in by Rigo is like a draft pick that we wish we would have made, and a draft pick that we wish we didn't make. You could go ahead first.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. um, I'm looking at the draft right now,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna go with my number 2 pick, Drake London, because I could have went with Nico Collins
Yes.
or Devo Samuel. So I'll make that statement. That's the pick I wish I would have made instead.
Hmm.
And then what was the other part of the question?
That you didn't make. You wish you didn't make. Like one of your team that you didn't draft.
One that I didn't draft.
No, that you wish
I
you
mean that.
didn't. Oh, you said so. You said Drake, but one that you would
Yeah,
have. I think as you answered both questions right in one
right,
pick.
right. Because yeah, if I wouldn't have taken Drake,
Yeah.
I would have ended up with like Nico or Devo. So I would take that back pretty much.
Yeah. For me, I really, I think I could have skipped out on Mark Andrews. I wish I didn't. I mean, I like him, right? I still believe in him. It's like I think I could have just picked up some other tight end because it's like you just streamed them, and I think for that value, especially in this league, I could have drafted anybody in that area, like Joe Mixon, like hello, or
Yeah.
just anybody else. Really, it would have been great already.
You want
Even just
you want
waiting
me
a
to show
couple
you?
rounds, I could have. Yeah, who was in that round?
Let's
Oh,
see.
you know what? I could have gotten T
Well,
Higgins.
yeah, James Conner or T Higgins
Yeah, 100% James Conner. I would have taken that
or
from you. Hey, I can still trade, right,
or
for you?
Ramondre too was also
Yeah,
he was in the 5th round, second pick, but that's still a pretty good one as well.
I'm more sold on James Conner than Ramondre,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's my choices. And the final question was sent by Ryan. Which KC running back do we have our money on? If we were betting men, That's not what he said, but he said, "Which ones do we think is gonna pop off, like, or gonna be the guy?"
Gotcha. Um,
My non-biased opinion is the guy that I own, Deontay Ingram, only because like, wow,
the
you
the guy that's his season has like proven so much.
it's like he got signed, like he got signed for a reason. They brought in Kareem and they put him in the practice squad. What about Carson Steele? He was already there, right? Maybe he got signed just for depth, right? The other guy, Keontae. But for sure,
Keontae,
I can
yeah,
tell you 100% it's not P Ryan. Like, why would it be P Ryan?
yeah, it's not being ranked because he's been cut before. Um, who was he on last year with Broncos, right?
Yeah, and before that,
Yeah,
the Bengals. He was good in the Bengals,
yeah.
but the Broncos not so much.
Um, my bet is in the guy that I only bid on, which was Carson Steele. Oh, actually, no, I bet
Mm.
on Kareem Hunt as well. That's only because of the flag nostalgia.
I would say that Kareem
Um,
Hunt's not out of the question, but I don't like how things are right now.
yeah,
I would say Keontae. I don't know. I'm being
it's
biased.
too many. It's too many heads on there, but I do have more confidence in Carson Steele. I don't know, just something about them saying that he's going to be the lead. Um, Kind of gives you a little bit more confidence.
Yep,
And I think they're only just afraid about them getting hurt, so that's probably why they signed all these other running backs.
makes sense. I guess we'll see this Sunday. Check back with us on Sunday after we see the snap share and stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's it for the questions. So that's it for our show for this week's the League podcast. See you guys next week. And yep, see you guys
have
next week. Have a good week.
a
Peace
great
out.
week.